Hi there, guys and girls, and welcome to week 6, the last webinar of the series. You guys are going to love this one. It's about two main points, and I'll just cover them briefly before we get stuck in, because obviously coming to the end, it's kind of time to think, what's next, what's now? And that is what this webinar is about, in that it's all about what are you going to do next? Now that you've got tips, techniques, thoughts, ideas, 5 weeks worth of 3 activities each. So you've got a good 15, 16, 17 activities to do, not including those things that you and I have done together in the personal sessions. What are you going to do? And the second point to that is that what most people find is that they don't implement and they don't repeat and they don't come back and check when they do courses like this or read books like this or be self-educated like you have been during this course. And that is what this week is all about. It's that idea of making sure you take the action and you do it again and again and again, and you don't give up until you've achieved what it is you want to achieve. So I hope you get that from this, and I look forward to speaking with all of you as you continue on your efforts towards achieving what it is that you truly want from your life. Do not quit. This particular webinar has had many different titles, but my favorite or the best or the one that's lasted the longest or the theme that's been around during most of the speeches and the webinars that I've done on this level is this idea of do not quit. And we're going to begin shortly with what that actually means, because do not quit is a definition and is a belief that you all need to adapt if you truly want to be who you want to be, achieve what that person does, and implement the things that'll get them there, implement the how that'll get them there. But before we jump into that, let's talk about what we've done so far. So obviously, you had the intro, you had to look at your values, and that's where we began. That's the foundation of the entire thing. Values, mission statement, and who you want to be. And the purpose of this 8-week life hack is to create the you that you most desire and to pursue your dreams with this 6-pillar process. The 6th being do not quit, today's seminar. There's a bit of a visual of how the program is structured, what the theory is, what the skeleton is. You've got you in the middle, all your values. That's where it begins. It's foundation. You've got this overarching umbrella of health and growth. Health being, your purpose or balance in life, a little bit of spirituality, that idea of what keeps you going, what keeps you here. It's most important. And of course, growth, which is why you're doing a course like this. You're being educated, you're developing yourself, so on. And then you've got the sections of life. You've got refuel or recreation, the fun stuff, the things that fill your cup. Then you've got relationships, which should also be filling your cup, obviously. But relationships, are you putting effort into that significant other? Are you putting effort into the family and friends? Are you putting effort into the things you're doing, romance, sex, and so on? You've got fitness, and I call it fitness, not health. You've got fitness, and fitness is, your nutrition, is your mental strength, is your exercise, is sleep, is staying on top of those things so the balance of your entire life is healthy. That's what fitness is all about. And then you've got vocation, and coming into there is all of your income ideas, whether that's career and so on, investments and so on, as well as finances, personal finances, business finances, family finances, and they all fit under that section. As I've said the whole way through the program, this is not a written in stone structure. This is the way that I vision it, and I understand that no one thinks the exact same way that I do, but this is the way that I can see it's structured, as the way I can see life structured. And the way that over the courses that I've done and the education that I've done, I've seen most people can fall into this idea. But if you see it in a different way, that is fine. If you see it in 5 different sections, that is fine. And don't get stuck on whether or not you see it exactly the same way I do, but get stuck on the fact that everything fits and the structure and the process and the things that I discuss make sense. We did a list of your core values and who you want to become. And of course, you got that one habit, one decision, one conversation challenge. You had that first week before you even kicked off the webinar, go out and do that. And hopefully you've maintained that kind of edge and you can maintain the ability to do those things maybe once a week, or at least remember back to when you did make that one habit and make that one habitual change. And now you are 6, 7, 8 weeks in. Has that habit stuck? And if not, why not? Let's work it out and then go back and begin. And if it has stuck, amazing. Let's work out what your next habit needs to be and what the next success habit for you will be. And the most important part of all of that, obviously, is the development of who you want to be. And I reiterate, if you don't know yet, or if you're continually changing or you're continually updating who you want to be, that's fine. Don't get stuck on that. Don't get stuck on, I'm still trying to work out who I want to be. You're probably very close. I often have conversations, whether it's with family and friends or whether it's with clients. I often have conversations where they say, oh, this is who I want to be, this is what I want, but I'm just not sure. And then they give me the list of the values and they tell me what they want, and they've got it. They're just second guessing themselves. So if you're there, the odd change here or there is fine and everyone does it, but don't get stuck on the fact that you think you don't know. It's very likely that you already do. In week 1, we worked on dreams. We worked on big, bold, unrealistic dreams. What's that outrageous goal that gives you a direction? What's your North Star? What's that ability to it draws you towards it? It's some goal in the future that at least tells you what direction you are going to travel. And then we worked on small timeline specific signposts. What are you doing next? How does that work back from where you truly want to end up? How far ahead into the future do you want to end up? 5, 10, 15 years? And then you work back what's happening in 6 months, what's happening in 3 months, 2 months, so on and so forth, all the way to what can I achieve next. And we also discussed the importance of daily habits, those small things that you need to do, those small habits that you need to put in place to achieve those signposts. And in achieving those signposts, you eventually achieve the outrageous, unrealistic, big, bold goals. Week 2, we worked on a bit of visualization. We clarified what signposts are, and we worked on the SMART principle. One of the biggest hurdles that people have is that they do not try and achieve goals that are within their current resources. And what I mean by that is they focus so much on that end goal. Let's take, for example, let's say you want to be Mark Zuckerberg. You want to be the next Mark Zuckerberg. What they end up doing is focusing on, oh, I need to create an app. I need to get an income. I need to be the next big thing. And they're thinking so far ahead into the future that they're not achieving the goal, or they're not focusing all their energy on the next goal. What can they actually achieve right now with the resources that I have? And then they get the translation gets lost. They get lost in the search for this big goal, as opposed to bring it back. What's the next signpost? What is the specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-measured goal that I can get? And put all your energy into that. And then have faith in the process. Have faith that if you achieve that next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing, well, then eventually you'll get to where you want to go. There's this great quote or story that Will Smith tells in one of his interviews where he says, his old man, his dad used to have him and his brother build a wall, or there was a wall at the back of the house, and he knocked it down, and then he told him and his brother, and his dad told him and his brother that they had to rebuild it. And they thought, wow, this huge wall, there's no way we can rebuild that. And then he said to them, just lay one brick. And so Will Smith thinks, you know what, I'm just going to lay one brick, and then another brick, and then another brick. And then they're going to lay it perfectly, which is the same, the equivalent or the metaphor of you achieving your next signpost. Put all your focus into getting that next goal perfect, or that next goal right, or getting that next goal achieved, just like you would lay a brick. And eventually, after you've laid enough bricks, you find you've got an amazing wall. That's what it takes. You don't start out by trying to build a big wall. You just start out by laying a brick perfectly. And then we worked on the perfect day and the perfect week, and you came up with those scenarios, that idea of what would your perfect day be? What would your perfect week be? Obviously, the realistic expectation of those is what's your ideal day and your ideal week? We aim for perfection, but life does get in the way. So make sure you spend some time thinking about those, because they need to remain in your mind if you're going to continue to achieve. Week 3 was about habits and behavior, setting up your own disciplined routine, And then more specifically, what's the quality of your standards? What's the quality of your behavior? If you look around at your life right now, it does not reflect what you want to achieve. What it reflects is the standard of your habits. If you are slightly overweight, that's because the standard of your habits say that you eat too much, or you eat the wrong things, or you don't exercise enough, or you stress too much. If you are behind your finances, it's because the standard of your habits say that you spend when you shouldn't. If you don't have a good relationship with your parents, it's because the standard of your habits is that you do not contact them enough, you do not have enough decent conversations with them, or vice versa. They don't contact you and you think it's up to them. Your standards of your habits and how you perform the things each and every day is why your life is of the quality or of the standard that it is right now. Week 4 goes much more into courage and the ability to achieve things. Self-sabotage, acting with courage, the resistances that stop us from being who we want to be. What are the small habits, the unconscious behaviors that hold us back? We also worked on that area of commitment to yourself. Who are you going to be? What are you going to achieve? What do you want to get done? And promise yourself that you do it. We worked on the definition of commitment, what it actually is, that it's an all-in process, that it's an all-in thing. There is no halfway for commitment. You're not half committed to something. That's just flat out, you're not committed. So you're all in. Gave you a few of those ideas of how you are going to remain courageous. Gave you a couple of ideas of things to do to be in a state of courageousness. Because if you want to achieve all these outlandish things that you want to achieve, well, then you need to be performing in a courageous manner day after day. And then last week, of course, we did this idea of ownership and attitude. What is your mental health doing? Where's your performance head at? What is the attitude with which you approach your tasks day to day? And owning that attitude and knowing that only you can change. We talked about consistent action. Consistently rocking up and getting it done is the only way to get there. If you do something once a year, you're not going to be getting towards whatever the goal is. But if you consistently push, no matter if it's perfect, no matter if you actually get it done, no matter if you fail or quit, but if you consistently, quit's probably not the right word to use, but no matter if you fail, but if you just consistently keep at it, consistent action will eventually get you there. And then we spoke about high performance, the definition of high performance, and then part of that definition is repetitive action. And what I mean by that is a high performer is not someone that performs at their peak all day, every day. A high performer is simply someone that performs above average repetitively. Above average, that's it. That's high performance. So repeat high performance will get you to becoming that person that's efficient and upbeat and efficient at what they do. There are your 6 weeks and your 6 topics, everything we've gone through. And then obviously today we're going to go through this idea of not quitting. Can't wait. Going to be an interesting conversation for us. And I have no doubt that many of you have very interesting thoughts once we're done with today's webinar. Yes, we work on the definition of what is hard work. Really, what is hard work? We work on not quitting, and we talk a little bit about resilience. The expectation today is that you'll come up with what hard work means for you, that you'll go through this idea of always finding one more effort. You'll notice that quote at the beginning of today's webinar was it was actually one of mine. I'm sure someone else said something similar, but I wrote this one particularly, and it says, if you always give one more effort, you'll never give your last. And you say things like that, and it seems extremely obvious, but the theory behind it is so simple. Success is not giving up. Successful people have one trait in common: they didn't give up. So that means they always gave one more effort until it was done. So you're going to try and work out what that means to you. What's your one more effort? We'll talk about success as fundamental truth, which I alluded to there, but I'll bring that roundabout, much more clearer manner in a moment, and we'll do some honest self-reflection, because that's what I want to leave you with when you finish the program, is an honest self-reflection of what it's going to take for you to achieve. Success and hard work. We want to change your definition, and we want to change your efforts. And what do I mean by that. What do I mean by change your definition, change your efforts? Change your beliefs. See, success, when you say to someone, what does success mean? Normally they'll come back with an idea or an objective view of their success, what subjective view of their success, what they want and what they see success as. But success needs to be thought of at a different area. Success is actually a process. And success, or the fundamental truth of success, is that all successful people have one thing in common, only one thing. And many people don't have this concept yet, and many people don't necessarily agree when this first gets said to them, but it is a fundamental truth that all successful people only have one thing in common. They don't all have the resources, they don't all have the abilities, they don't all have some amazing talent, they don't all have high levels of resilience, although that does fall in, but they all do have one thing in common. They never gave up. They don't give up until they achieve what they want to achieve. So that is what you need to define success as. Success is not giving up. Success isn't reaching a goal. Success is a process, and in that process, it's not giving up. It's a fundamental truth that all successful people know, whether they realize it or not, and you all know now as well, this fundamental truth. And if you implement it, once you want to achieve with your outrageous goals and with who you want to be, you will be successful. It doesn't matter that you don't achieve what this outrageous goal is to be a success. A success is you do not give up until you get there. And then I want to spend some time on this thought of changing your definition and belief of what hard work is. Perception is that you all work hard. You won't necessarily meet many people that say, I don't work hard. Most people think, yep, I have a busy day. You know, what's the first thing that people say to you? How are you doing? Oh, I'll tell you what, work's busy at the moment. Everyone says it, but if everyone says it, then it can't be true. It can't be the same truth for everyone. And that's because everyone simply has their own perception of what hard work is. I think hard work is 17 hours of work a day, you know, with 10 minutes break every hour to refresh my brain. Okay. I think hard work is running a marathon. I think hard work is climbing Mount Everest. I think hard work is having to look after the kids. That's what people think and that's what people say, and it's their perception. But the reality is hard work is much, much more than what you think. As you can see from the slide, hard work is not one mountain. Hard work is 3, 4, 5 mountains. Hard work is just keeping on going no matter what. There's always someone working harder than you, and that's what you've got to realize. That's what you've got to see as your definition and your belief of hard work. Are you actually working hard yet? I can almost guarantee that you're not there yet. You will get to the point where you reach your level of hard work, you know, you're working hard. And when you get there, you'll know because you're just nailing stuff. There's always upbeat, consistent action to pursue what you want to pursue. We need to change our view of what we think hard work is. What do you think hard work for yourself now? What's your current definition of hard work? And I want you to think about that. Even if you have to pause the webinar, pause it now, you know, write down, I work hard at the moment because I do this. Write down your current definition of hard work. And then once you've written it down, have a look at your goals. Have a look at your SMART signpost. What's next to be achieved? And then accordingly, check your review of what you did yesterday, your perfect day, your perfect week. And are you implementing enough things of what you want to achieve to get to where you want to go? Because if you're not, well, then you're not working hard enough. So you need to change your definition of hard work to be including more of those things to get you to where you want to go. And you need to change that definition of hard work now. I hope that makes sense to you. I'll repeat it one more time. I want you to spend some time now thinking about your current definition of hard work. What do you do at the moment, and do you think you work hard? And then think about what you want to achieve. And in correlation to what you want to achieve, check your last week. You should all have that perfect week or that structured schedule by now. Check your last week. Did you do enough work to get to where you want to go? And if you didn't, then you need to change your definition of hard work and put more work into what you're doing. Interesting slide here, but it'll make more sense in a moment. What is hard work to you? How many no's are you willing to get? Light bulb, Edison. The story goes, and there are many different ones, but the story goes there were 1,001 broken light bulbs until he worked out how to light up the world. Imagine that. Living by firelight, living by candle, living in the darkness for 12 hours a day, half the day and night. And there's one crazy individual who says, I'm going to light up the world. I'm going to light up the world with electrons, with this wire. And then he worked out 1,001 ways that it didn't work and kept working hard until he found the one way that got it done. Colonel Sanders from KFC. This story is pretty famous as well. Many people use it, but they use it because it's a great idea and a great example of hard work. 60-something years old, I can't remember exactly what it was, but he gets a pension check. And he looks at the money that's written on the pension check, and it is nowhere near enough to help him survive. So what does he do? He works out what resources he has, and he works out how he can change the world, and he works out that he's got an amazing chicken recipe. And then he goes and offers this chicken recipe to a bunch of chicken shops. And the story goes that he got almost 1,000 chicken shops to tell him to piss off, and told him no, until he found the one that did, because he knew he had an amazing recipe. He kept working hard. He kept at it. He kept taking the no's. He kept taking it on the chin, working, and now we all know where that story ended up with KFC. And then the baller. I put that in there because I'm a big fan of basketball, and it always amuses me that the hardest workers on a team, whether it be your Michael Jordans or your Kobe Bryants or your LeBron James, but the hardest workers on a team are always the best on the team. They're not the ones that rest on their laurels. They're the ones that are in the gym from 5 a.m. until 10 p.m. every day, are on the court, are practicing. Perfection is what they aim for. They're the hardest workers. The also rans, they take the cash and go and spend some time at lunches and brunches and dinners and so on and so forth. And then there's the captain, there's the best player, working the hardest, always in there doing more than the other guy. And that's what it takes for you. You need to know what your definition of hard work and your definition of success are. And they need to be changed to be beliefs that will get you to achieve what you want to achieve. It's going to take time. It's not easy to change beliefs. But if you put in the effort, you will be able to decide what your belief is for hard work, what your belief is for how much sleep you need, what your belief is for success, what your belief is for what it takes to get to where you want to go. The first main activity for this week is called How Many No's? Interesting title, but it'll make much more sense to you in just a moment. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to write down your most ambitious SMART goal at the moment. You should have a few SMART goals on the go, whether that's different areas of your life or so on and so forth. But you've got one in your mind that is the one that you probably put off the most because it feels like it's the hardest. It feels like it's the most difficult to achieve. And I want you to work out what that one is, your SMART goal. So what specific, measurable, attainable or assignable or aligned realistic goal do you have at the moment, and you know what the timeline is to get it done, and what is the most ambitious SMART goal you have? I want you to write it down right now. And then I want you to create a document like this one, or what I might do is make a PDF up and make it available on the website. But as you can see, there are 7 days for the week and 5 no's per day. And you're going to do this for 3 weeks. 7 5s, 35 times 3 is 105. So if you do 5 no's every day for the next 3 weeks, you could possibly get up to 105 no's. And what you need to do for as far as achieving those no's is I want you to think about Edison or think about Colonel Sanders. How many no's did they achieve on their way to a light globe? They've achieved 1,000. 1,000 no's. Now most of us give up after 1 or 2. So I don't expect you to reach 1,000, but I can I'm yet to have a client who reached 105 without already having achieved what they set out to achieve. So that's what we're doing here. 3 weeks, 5 no's per day. Just go and chase a no. Go and get someone to knock you back. Go and try to do it, whatever it is you want to achieve. Try and do it one way and fail at it. If you don't fail, well, then that means you succeeded and you've already achieved it. So congratulations. But in the meantime, let's get as many failures up as we can. So on the first day, you go out and you get no, no, no. Okay, 3 no's, and then you got a yes, and you made some progress. And then the next day you go out and you get another set, all no's, all the way through. Fuck, shit day, 5 no's, and so on and so forth. The next day, 4 no's. But then the fifth one, you had a little bit of success, so on and so forth. That's how I want the PDF or the structure to look. Go out and get as many no's as you can. 5 no's per day. I challenge you. You will not get there. I'm yet to have a client that gets there. And if you can get 105 no's, if you can get 105 no's, imagine what you achieve. That is what hard work takes. Let's find out if you're willing to get no's, to fail 105 times. In this day and age, you will achieve what you've set out to achieve if it's a proper SMART goal before you get to 105. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the skill of resilience. Resilience is just consistently getting back up and pursuing what you want to pursue, no matter how many failures, no matter how many kicks to the face, no matter how many no's you get. Over and over and over, you continue to pursue what you want. That is resilience. You can't teach it. It's not a skill to be taught. You can't go into school as a resilience teacher. It doesn't happen. It's only found through experience. That experience of getting knocked down and getting back up over and over and over again. It is not a coincidence that the most successful people that you can think of have been knocked down. You know, the person with all the resources in the world, you can think about them. You probably went to high school with them. The person with all the resources and all the talent are probably not the most successful person you can think of right now. But the person that was knocked down a lot in school, or the person that kept building their resilience and kept getting back up and kept going and kept going and kept going, they may be the same person, but it's unlikely. They're the ones who become successful. The person who can get 105 no's, out of all of you listening to this webinar right now, the person who can get 105 no's in the next 21 days will be the most successful. Because they're the person who won't quit. And that's what it takes. The idea that you won't quit. The belief that quitting is not an option. Change your belief system. There is no longer anything such as failure. There are only lessons to be learned. You no longer hear the word no. Just try again. If you can change your beliefs to think that way, you will achieve what you're setting out to achieve. They're just the steps to achieve your final goal. If you stop when you hear no, you will not achieve it. So you need to change your beliefs around it. No matter the interruption, no matter the obstacle, no matter what perceived failure is coming towards you, you can achieve whatever you wish if you don't stop until it's done, if you do not quit. Consistently think, what small change can I make to get a better result? Because if you ask yourself that question enough times, whether that's 105 times over the next 3 weeks, or whether or not that's for the rest of your life, what small change can I make to get a better result? Then you will achieve what you set out to achieve. You will be successful, because successful people consistently don't give up. That's what success is. Success isn't in the achieving. There's only one common trait to achieving, and that is not giving up until. The last activity, like I said, was something that I'm going to leave you with. And I want you to think about writing yourself a letter. When you do the in-person one-on-one program, I get people to write themselves an essay. But for you, I think the fact that I'm not there, sitting by you or with you right now while we're doing this, I want you to write yourself a letter. And I want you to think about all the questions and all the things and everything you've learned over the last 6 weeks, and how you're going to implement it and how you're going to consistently show up and get it done to achieve what you want to achieve. You should know by now what it's going to take for you to succeed. I'm not talking about the foundations. I'm not talking about the who, and I'm not necessarily talking about the what you want to achieve at the moment, but what will it take for you to achieve? What are the things that you need to do? You already know if you're a hard worker. You'll already have a feeling that you have the resilience. But do you need to up your game? Do you need to perhaps be the person that gets 10 no's a day? What do you need to do to achieve? What are you going to rely on? What resistances are you going to break through? What are you going to rely on when times get really tough? When times get really, really shit, what are you going to rely on? What does hard work feel like to you? What will it feel like to you? How do you need to define hard work? What do your beliefs around success need to be? What will working hard feel like to you? And who will you be? I want you to write yourself a letter now. Write yourself an honestly penned letter. 1 page is enough, but something that in the future you can read to either A, get you back on track, or B, to look at in a fond way to say, you know what, I did become that person, I did do that, and look where I am now. Dear myself, it is, maybe write down the date, you are writing this to yourself to encourage you to achieve, and you are going to be who you're going to be, so on and so forth. The examples are endless, but that's what we need to see in this letter. It's not for me, it's not for your partner, it's not for anyone else, it's for you. It's a positive reflection and self-talk for you, what you are going to achieve. And more specifically, what success is for you. What is not quitting for you? Because once you achieve what you want to achieve, when you do not quit until, whether that's a SMART goal or whether that's one of your big goals, guess what? There'll always be another goal. And you'll need to have the resilience and the ability to not quit until you achieve that next thing as well. Okay, so I'm going to have down below this webinar that PDF of the 105 no's. You'll have an opportunity to print that off and use it. But before we wrap up, I want you to think about your additional resources, because your additional resources should be implemented by you forevermore. You'll get to a time where we all do, and even I do, and I wrote them, where I don't use them, where I put them to the side. But my best days and my most productive months and the times where I'm actually achieving things at full velocity, at full success, and at my highest performance, I'm using these additional resources. I'm reviewing everything for the week. What do I need to do? What do I need help in? What worked? What didn't? What will I do next time? I'm going through the daily checklist. I've just got 5 cheeky tasks just written there, and I'm ticking them off, and I'm giving myself a score. I'm reflecting on all the great things from the day and all the things that I'm grateful for. And I'm setting my intention, not just the to-do list. The to-do list is there, but I'm also setting an intention. Who am I going to be today? And I'm doing it every day. So I encourage you once again to get back onto those additional resources and keep implementing them beyond the program. Keep implementing them until they're just a habit, until they are such an ingrained part of your life that you are pursuing everything with an adamant, consistent action for success. Like I said, there were 2 parts to today's podcast, to this week's podcast. Webinar recording. Sorry, I record a lot of different things. The first is changing your definition and beliefs around success. And the second is what's next. And that's what I want you to implement from today on. You've got everything you need now. You've got the ability to learn. You've got the ability to perform high. You've got the ability to act with courage. You've got the idea of who you want to be. You've got the idea of what that person wants, whether that's the large goal with the direction or whether that's the short-term goals that'll get you there. Now it's about implementing what your attitude is towards success and hard work. Implementing those things day after day after day until you achieve, because that's what success is. It's never giving up until you achieve what you want to achieve. Everyone begins the 8-week life hack with a view of some form of outcome, with a view of becoming a better person, of developing themselves to be better. And you need to have a definition of success that sustains what you've learned. Success is never giving up. During the 8-week program and throughout all of the different products that I offer, I do 3 main things. I help you discover who you want to be, who you are. Once you've laid the foundations of who you are, we talk about and find and uncover what you want. What are the goals? What you actually want from life? And then I implement the how you are going to get it and give you the ability to learn a few techniques that I use in pursuit of what you want and who you want to be. And of course, all the different aspects that we've done over the last 6 weeks are combinations of those things. How you get there is always underlined by who you want to be. What you want is always underlined by who you want to be, and what you want is always associated with how you're going to get it. Integrity throughout the entire program. Who you are, what you want, and how you're going to get it. Today, we define success. We redefine what you think of as hard work for yourself, and we discussed what it is to be resilient, and that resilience is an experience skill, not something you can be taught verbally, not something you can be taught on a webinar like this, not something you can read. Resilience only comes from experience, from hitting a failure, hitting a wall, getting a no, and getting up over and over and over again. So the action you have taken to discover your success and hard work and discover what it takes not to quit this week is that we've changed your belief system. We've penned a letter to yourself demanding who you are and what you want and how you're going to achieve your most ambitious and fulfilled life. And we've developed a path for building resilience and achieving your most ambitious, smart goal. So let me just spend a little bit of time on that letter. It's for you. It's so you can reiterate all the things you've learned over the last 6 weeks, and for you to reiterate the most important things. I do not know what the most important parts of the last 6 weeks were for you. Only you do. And that's what needs to go into the letter. It needs to be something that you can use to reinvigorate your pursuit of what you want, or one of those things that you'll find in the future and think, yes, I did learn, I did get it done. And I want to just touch on as well, what is your most ambitious SMART goal? And build a path of resilience towards getting it by aiming to get 5 no's a day for the next 3 weeks. 105 no's. I won't guarantee, but I'm yet to see someone, a client, get 105 no's without having it first achieved what they set out to achieve. So I look forward to hearing about all of your goals and your pursuits of those things and how many no's you get per day. It's an interesting concept, but it works. The 8-week life hack is all about uncovering who you want to be, stating what you want and creating a plan to get there, implementing the skills and attributes for how you will achieve it and perform as best you can as often as possible. 6 pillars: who you want to be, what you want, plan to get there, skills for getting there, attributes, habits for getting there, resiliences and abilities to break through resistance, and then performance. And of course, the last, never, ever give up. 6-pillar process for achieving your outrageous dreams and most ambitious and fulfilled life. You are all have the capability of being amazing people. You are already on that path because you are here learning and developing yourself. And it's in pursuit of the things beyond what you think you can do that you'll find out how great you are. The reason I do Words with Oz is that I grew up a very talented child, but I don't feel like as a child I achieved the things that I was destined to achieve. because I wasn't ambitious enough and I didn't put in the work. So I've created this program to inspire the world to be more ambitious. We don't need more and more lemmings. We don't need more and more people who also run. We need people living their most inspired, ambitious, and fulfilling life. That's why I created Words with Oz. That's why we've got the 8-week life hack. And it's in pursuit of those things, those outrageous goals, it's in pursuit of your most ambitious dreams that you'll find out how amazing you are. Thank you for being a part of the webinar series. You, of course, have continued contact with me via email. Many of you will still have one of your, or both, but one of your personal hours with me as well. So keep in contact. And please, any questions, there's my email address, which you already have. And enjoy reviewing the last 6 weeks. Make sure you go through them again if you need to. And in pursuit of what you most want, never, ever, ever give up.